Hello stampers! I've got a quick project for you today. I'm going to show you how to get a little more use out of your dies. Today we're using the Grove dies. The Grove dies coordinate and bundle up with the Grassy Grove stamp set. So I have the Grove dies here and I have just a couple of them already cut out. I used this tree line die and this deer die, and I'm going to show you how to use them as stencils instead of just die cuts, and that gives you a little bit more flexibility with your creating with your dies. So anything that we can do to extend the use of our tools I think is a good thing, right? So we're going to start with the main image panel, and we're going to be using a 3.5 by 4.5 inch basic white panel. Now all the dimensions for this card are down below this video. Just click show more and you'll see them all there, along with the links to the products that'll take you directly to my online store. So we're going to start by just putting in some color, and I die cut that tree line set out of a piece of basic black cardstock. Yeah, you could use any color for this. And when I cut it out, I made sure I had a border going, a good sized border going around the die. That way, because we're going to be using blending brushes, and you want to make sure that you're not like going off of the die cut for that, because you might get color where you don't want it. So make sure you have a good border going around it. So we're going to start, I'm just going to line this up with the bottom of my cardstock here, and I want the tree line to be above the right side, and this side I want just trees, not this bushy part. So I have it kind of over. And then we're going to start with Saffron and a blending brush, and we're just using this as a stencil. I'm just holding it with my hand, and we're just going to get some color in here around these trees a bit. And that was the right side, and then for the left side I'm going to do the same thing. I want this up to where the trees are going off the paper here, and this bushy part is not on my cardstock. I just want trees. So again, I'm going to use this Saffron. There we go. See, we have this tree line going on. Well, I'm going to add even more color to it. I'm going to line this back up, and you can see right where you had it before. So I'm just lining it up, and then I'm going to bring in, this time, some Calypso Coral. I thought that'd be a nice combo for fall. So I'm using a blending brush, and I'm going to add some of that coral up here in the corner. And this gives you a look that you have like sunset going on around your trees. I'm going to do the same thing for this side. I'm going to line my trees back up where I had them before. And I'm going to add a little bit of that to the top left corner. You can add some in your top of your sky there too. But it makes such a pretty image, those white trees with that great color in there. So that was it for that. See how quick this would go? And you could really kick out a bunch of these cards out really quickly. So that was the Calypso Coral. I want to bring in some Memento Tuxedo Black. And I die cut the deer out of just a piece of scrap cardstock, and we're going to add that. And since you have it die cut out and you're using the negative, you can do your deer facing this way and you can do your deer facing that way. So we're going to put a couple of deer in here, and I'm going to put one deer here on the right side. I'm going to bring in a blending brush, get it good and inky, and you're just going to do a circular motion and fill that in. So there's your deer facing that way, and then you just have to turn this over, and I kind of line it up. I see where my deer is there, and I slide it over a little bit. Get my second deer in. Now this deer is facing the other one since we turned that piece over. And there we have our two deer, and it's so simple, and it just took the one die cut. Now these die cuts that I cut out, I just store them along with my dies, and that way I never have to cut them out again. I just have them all the time. So there is that. So there, we just about have our main panel done. I just want to stamp the sentiment, and I took the sentiment out of the Celebrating You stamp set. This is a stamp set that has some great sentiments in it. Again, it's Celebrating You, and we're going to be using the one that says Just For You. You can get a lot of use out of that stamp. Okay, I just want to make sure this is stamping well before I go to my cardstock here. And I'm going to there we go, Just For You. And there's our main panel all done. It looks great. I love the way those trees look when they stay white there with that color around them. So simple, simple to do. And now we're just going to switch out our scrap paper here before assembling, because we're going to be using white cardstock here, and I don't want to get things messed up with the additional color we don't want on. I have a basic white card base here. It's 5.5 by 8.5, and inside I added a Calypso Coral panel that's 4 by 5.25, and a Saffron panel that's 3 3/4 by 5. So there is our card, and then on the front I wanted an embossed panel, and this is the same size as the front of my card, so it's 4 1/4 by 5.5, and I embossed it using the Fern 3D embossing folder. This is just a beautiful embossing folder. I don't know if it shows up very well on camera, but it has all these great fern leaves all over it. So that is what I wanted for the front of my card. And I just want some ribbon on here. But first I'm going to adhere my main panel to it. So I'm just gluing it on. So I'm going to just center it up and glue it on this panel. That fern gives lots of texture in the background here. So I'm just going to flip this over and rub it. And that helps that main panel stick on there. So now I just want to bring in some ribbon, and this is the Pale Papaya ribbon. So I'm just going to take one piece, a little larger than our panel. And I'm going to kind of run it over the top of our main panel here. And then I'll flip it over, and I'm going to adhere this ends with mini glue dots. 1 dot for each side's plenty. I love this card, goes together so quickly. So there is our ribbon, and then we're going to adhere this to the front of our card. I'm just going to use my multi-purpose glue, but you use whatever adhesive you like. Here we go, and once I get it to where I want it, I'm going to lay it down and just press the back of it a little bit to get that to adhere well. So there's the front, and then we're going to add just one more piece of ribbon. And I'm just going to slide this piece of ribbon under the first piece and give it a tie. There we go. And then I'm just going to cut these. There's one side. There's the other side. And there is our card all finished. I think this would be lovely for an anniversary. It could be for a birthday, it could be for quite a few different occasions. So there you have it, today's card. I hope you enjoyed this project and that it helps you get more use out of your dies. Thanks for joining me. Bye.